So, the eternal problem for me is that no matter what I do, I'm always the same. I mean, I literally am always as I am. There is no relief. There is no possibility that I can deviate from my from my normal state. What is my normal state? My normal state is, to be quite honest with you, I am as I am. I'm a beast.
Stepped in there, so it went ahead, and the torch is ablaze.
I'm a beast. I'm a beast. So when I was in paradise, I mean, I really was in paradise. I was in a place that was so glorious and so good that I can't describe it. I really can't describe it. And but my people pushed me out because they said, you have to do something for us. We believe you're the right choice. We believe you're the one. And so I was pushed out and into oblivion, literally. And then past oblivion into, well, where I am today, which is on this cold, barren rock that kind of suffices to be a planet. I don't know. I wouldn't call it a planet. I call it a holding station. I mean, literally a cage. It's kind of like, I don't know, something. So here I am, Terra. I'm on Terra. They call it Terra because, you know, you could call it another thing. You could call it Earth. You could call it, you know, soul. You call it what you will. But I call it Terra. So my people sent me out into the void, and so here I am in the void and beyond. Now my people do visit me. I mean my family visits me because they want to see how I'm doing. They want to see if I'm being able to correct the problem. The problem, of course, is, I guess I would say, my children. My children are the problem. You know, my children are the problem. And they're problem children, I guess you'd say. Problem children. Children that defy management, that will not submit to control. They will not do what they wish. They will not do what they want. They will not do as they should. Now, if a child wishes to kill its parent, what is that called? Patricide? Maybe patricide. What do you say if you have a parent wishes to kill its child? I don't know, matricide? No, matricide. There is no word for a parent which would want to kill his children. There's no word. There is a anyway, what do they call it? When a woman gives birth and then she kills her children, there's a word for that. it's not postmenopausal. It's, you know, postpartum depression. I mean, as a result of postpartum depression, she might drown her children. But that's not what they call it, a CIDE, a side. That is not a side. So anyway, here I am. Here I am. Here I am. Here I am. To make a long story short, or make a short story long, the vehicle I used to get here was, well, it was brutish. You know, it was literally made in a very hasty way, and my people sent me out. And they said, we don't care how you arrive, just as long as you arrive on time. They say there's a saying amongst aviators: any landing you walk away from is a good landing. So I guess you could say I had a good landing. I landed in 1908 Common Era, not too far from a lake in Siberia. I stayed in the lake in my craft for a long time, not too long, up until about 1913. And around 1913, which is, after about 5 years in the lake, I emerged from the lake. I literally walked on water, so to speak, mostly because the water was frozen. Now, so it's a frozen lake. So I walk off the lake into, and I'm completely naked. I'm freezing. I'm cold. And now, at that point, I had a penis, which somebody said it was very, very, very short. It was a short penis, which I guess in terms of penises means that I'm less of a man than I would normally be. A man with a long penis is a real man. A man with a short penis is a short man, or less of a man. But my penis was only 5 inches long, erect. And but I had a hard-on, literally. I mean, I walked off the lake in 1913 with a hard-on. Now, don't ask me why. I don't know why. Probably because I was cold. Now, normally when a person's cold, when a human male is cold, their package, we would call it a package, shrinks, and they have a hard-on. But I had a hard-on. I was ready to come. I was ready to, I was ready to fuck a bunny, but I couldn't find a bunny. But there was a woman, an elderly woman, in a cart, and she was driving past the lake. She was driving her. She had, I think it was something like a bull or something. I don't know, something like a bull, something with horns, and I think it was and it wasn't a yak. It was something, and she was going past the lake, and she saw me, and she thought I was a woman, and she said, "Come in, my dear, come in. You need to get out of the cold." Now, of course, maybe I looked like a woman because my hair was very long and very pale. And she said, "You need to get clothes on. You can't go around unclothed." And she said this in Russian. So she gave me some clothes, which I wore, and a woman's garb, and I put this on, and then I got into the back of the cart, and then she ferried me to a station. Now I don't know why this was so, but I coughed out diamonds. So, I mean, literally, out of my mouth came diamonds. I mean, real diamonds. So I expelled diamonds from my gut, and out they came, and so and that's when I got to her hut in the mirror, which is of course a peasant village, and I took one of the diamonds from the, well, I guess the vomit. I cleaned it off, and then I gave it to her. I said, "Here." And I gave her a diamond. I gave her a pure diamond. I mean, a pure diamond. She looked at it. She says, "Did you steal this?" I said, "No. It was in my sock." She said, "You had no socks on." I said, "Yes, I did. I had socks on." She said, "What are socks?" "They're leggings. You had no leggings on." "Yes, I did." So, but she was willing to accept that, and so she accepted the diamond, which of course gave her great wealth, because she took it to a Jew in the city closest to her, and the Jew gave her a chit, and the chit gave her great wealth, and she lived happily ever after. But I took the remaining diamonds, and I bound them up in a piece of cloth, and I went by rail from Vermeer. First I went by coach, horse-drawn coach, to a larger place, a city, a small city. And then I went to a railroad station, and but first I went to another Jew. And I says, "I have a diamond for you, which I think you can use." And they took the diamond and says, "You know, this is a very unusual diamond. It's perfect." I says, "I know, but my father gave it to me." "Who's your father?" "He's a rabbi in Poland." "Do I know him?" "No, he keeps to himself." "My dear, this is worth a lot of money, a lot of wealth. This is great. This is the source of great wealth. It's a perfect diamond." I says, "Well, how much can you give it to me? How much can you give to me right now, on the spot?" "I can give you, what currency do you prefer?" "British pounds sterling." We have a problem with that. "I can give you rubles, and then you can convert to British pounds." "Okay, rubles. I'll give you 1,000,000 rubles. Would that be sufficient?" "I think you're overestimating the worth of the diamond. I think you should give me 500,000 rubles and keep 500,000 for yourself." The rabbi looked at me and said, "You know, you're very wise for a woman." I says, "Yes, I know." So I took the 500,000 rubles, well, the chit that the rabbi gave me, and I took it to, and plus he gave me some incidental cash money. I think he gave me 1,000 rubles. I took the 1,000 rubles, and I stayed at a youth hostel. I think it was youth hostel. No. I guess I stayed in a community room, and then I went on the train. I took the train to the port. I took the money, and I bought a seat on a ship, a good ship, and then I went to London, and from London I was able to convert my rubles my chit to pound sterling, and then I was able to find rooms, and then I was able to hire servants, and then the servants were able to give me the things I needed, which was, of course, passage back to Europe, to Germany, actually. Now, we're going from 1913, 1914, 1915, 1916. Now, there is a process by which politicians, leaders of nation states, and others find ways to support their families, to shield themselves from ill, and also to create a bad wind for others. So there were armies, and they were forming, and the armies had needs, and the needs were great, because they felt they needed to be well armed. And there were manufacturers that were able to give them the arms, and so they need facilitators to go-betweens between the politicians, the armies, the generals, the manufacturers of the weapons, and so on. I was that facilitator. I was like Schindler in Schindler's List. I did the presentation. So at some point, we found that there were lots of manufacturers, lots of armies, and a willingness to do war, but war was not sufficient, because you had to actually fight. And so there had to be something that caused a fight. And the fight had to be something that related to law. And I was able to, make myself a barrister in British courts. And so I stood before the court and I said, I believe that the plaintiff in this case, who is of Irish descent, a free Irishman, needs recompense for the problems that the landlord has caused them. This, among other things, led to World War I, as they call it, the Great War. Because the Irishman had a cousin, and the cousin had a niece, and the niece had a lover, and the lover had a desire to paint, and the painter had a kind of confidant, and so on and so on. And this is all a house of cards. And the house of cards was that there should be war. And there was war, great war, in Europe and other places. And when this war came, and it was great, more munitions were formed, more technology was created. Aircraft became a feature, which is one of my major concerns. There should always be aircraft. Anyway, so that's what happened. I created World War I, which means I killed lots and lots of people. I was the cause of their death. But it was necessary, because humans had to evolve. They had to create weapons, and the weapons created refrigerators and stoves and so on and so on. And stoves begat cooking, and cooking begat pastries, and pastries begat comfort, and comfort begat spas, and spas begat, and so on and so on. And of course, in the final analysis, it begat hatred. Hatred was great. Very great. Very, very great. And so at some point, I think it was around 1920, I moved my offices from London to Berlin. And but I made a stop off at Munich and also at a few other cities in Germany to establish offices, because I wanted to make sure that I was in place for, well, a character. And the character was Adolf Hitler. And Adolf Hitler was, well, I guess you'd say he had a psychiatric problem. And the psychiatric problem was very great. He was very hateful. But he was working with the German secret police and trying to ferret out those that he hated, which were, of course, communists. He had fought the Russians in World War I. He didn't even know they were Russians, oddly enough. So, I came to Hitler and I says, Hitler, I say, my son. He says, who are you? I am your father. My father is dead. No, your father is alive. Why do you say your father's dead? He's dead to me. So then, let me be your father, or let me be your uncle. And we were talking in German. And then finally I said, you know English, don't you? A smattering, he said. He said it correctly. I said, let's just go back to German. So I told him that he needed to go out and speak his piece and tell what he really thought, which was he hated the Jews, he hated the communists, and lots of hate. And so I told Hitler this, that he should go out into the street, go to the beer halls, and thump, and then eventually people will listen. And he did. By the following year, 1921, he was a great speaker. So I created Hitler. Hitler created World War II and the Holocaust. But it was a necessary thing. So after Hitler did his thing and started World War II, I should say, there was a point where he had made a treaty, in my insistence, with the Soviet Union, because the Soviets wanted to take power. I mean, the Bolsheviks, and they only could do so if they had a treaty. So they had a treaty with Germany. The treaty allowed Stalin to take power. Stalin, a great bank robber, and he was very good at robbing banks. But I told Stalin when I snuck into his compound where he was hiding, because he feared, and rightfully so, the Germans would come for him, and if not his own people. I said, it's a counterattack. Sign the document, and we will make peace. And so we made peace. And the peace we made was sufficient for certain enterprises to exist. And in the future, the Americans became part of my craft. But it was a very secret organization, and it could not be revealed until now. No, it is now. Now, my friend, is 4:11 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time in Seattle, Washington, at the close-in motel, room C. My name is Lucifer. Thank you very much for your time. And I would say God bless, but God damn, I won't say God damn. I won't say God bless. I won't say anything. You know why? Because I'm the anti-God. There's God and there's the anti-God. There's God and there's the anti-God. Remember that. This is important. Keep that in mind. Because, you know, there will be a test at the end of the conversation.